Welcome back to the channel. After releasing my first commercial game, Sliding Glide, on Steam, I needed to come up with my next project. That is where this series, Road to Greatness, began. This series will follow my journey making a top-down zombie shooter where the main character is in fact a deer. After solidifying the general idea of the main character being a deer, I couldn't just start there. I had to figure out a critical problem. To truly capture the essence of being a deer and to fulfill this ambitious project, I had to go straight to the source and do some field research in the wild.
Here is where nature is really able to thrive, and just the wilderness allows for nature to take its course without human disrupting it. And that is why we're out here doing field research and really seeing what a deer's experience is like out in nature. This is very important for the game to have the best experience possible as a deer. This is why we are out here researching nature in its most purest and surreal form. After hours of observation, I finally secured an exclusive interview with one of the most reputable sources on deer knowledge. This is Reginald. He has seen things and he's been through things. Now, Reginald, tell me, what is an average experience like on a day-to-day basis?
Mate, it's a non-stop exercise in tactical grass consumption and split-second predator evasion, where one misstep means you're either dinner or a horde ornament.
Fascinating, truly inspiring. And of course, we could not forget the rest of our esteemed panel of experts. We have Jerry, Barry, Ron, and Don. We could have not done this without all 5 of these experts. Now, let's get back to the desk.
I'm sure we'll be hearing and seeing from our deer experts throughout this project, but as stated before, my game, Sliding Glide, is on Steam right now. It would be greatly appreciated if you could go check it out. The link is in the description. Also, you're not going to want to miss the following episodes of this series, so go down and hit the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell, so you don't miss any of the next videos in this series. And while you're down there, hit the like button. But now, let's get into the video.
A few moments later.
Alright, this is my next game, my most ambitious project yet. You play as a deer, but not just any deer. A deer who made a deal with the devil. A deer cursed with fiery hell powers and a thirst for survival. And yes, I might be slightly inspired by my surroundings while adding some fictional elements. I mean, my last game, a squirrel with a magical sword. This one, a deer from hell. What's next? A raccoon who steals souls? I don't know, but let's be honest, it's definitely possible.
Oh, you're making a game about a deer? Kid, you don't even know half. Them squirrels, they're up to something. And have you ever seen one blink? Exactly. Can't trust them.
Okay, unlike Sliding Glide, where I designed everything around the sprites that I drew first, this time I just started with a bare bones prototype with just colored squares. And since this is the most ambitious project yet, and it's going to be a top-down shooter, I got right into creating the weapon system for this game. Enter the Hyper Module Lethal Loadout Integrated Recombination and Experimental System, or the Himmelres. This will allow me to produce infinite amount of guns given the time. The name, of course, was meticulously crafted by Jerry, aka Professor Antlerstein.
Yes, the Himmelres, named using the ancient principles of delinguistic quantum dynamics. Some say I just threw words together, but the way to understand is that in the 12th century, deer scholars discovered that the modular weapon follows the Fibonacci sequence, then applied to infernal ballistic theory. It's basic science, really.
Thanks, Jerry. Now every gun is built with interchangeable parts and obviously with the base stats that you would expect in a weapon system like damage and fire rate, but this system allows me to add post-hit effects and special abilities tied to the stock part, as well as elemental effects corresponding to different bullets. These different variables a gun can have will allow me to create widely different guns.
Guns. Lots of guns.
Yes! Yes! Let this man cook!
The options are limitless, and that wraps up the initial idea for this game. So now I want to start expanding this idea and push this prototype even further.
A few moments later.
To push this prototype even further, I wanted to expand the combat and double down on this being my most ambitious game yet. First, I needed to fix a major issue I spotted right away. When you run out of ammo with all your guns, you have no way to deal damage and get more money from the enemies. And that's kind of a problem. But to fix this, I added a dash ability. This works as a way to escape danger in a pinch, but it also can deal damage to enemies and push them out of the way. The idea behind this is that the deer has antlers, I might as well let him use them. And because of that, the deer pushes the enemies out of the way and deals a small amount of damage when he hits them.
Oh my gosh, this mechanic adds so much depth to the game. How did you think of this?
Yes, Barry, a dash ability. So revolutionary and never seen before in video games. But to make the combat even more fun, which is very important, I decided to make the enemies even smarter, which is one thing my last game, Sliding Glide, kinda lacked in. I did this by improving enemy pathfinding, as well as creating dynamic enemy spawners that strategically place the enemies depending where the player is, among other factors. With enemies smarter, let's go back to the Himores. As I stated before, this system allows me to create an infinite amount of guns. With so many possibilities, I needed a way to organize them while pushing my creativity. Enter weapon packs. Each pack follows a base theme. Pack 0, it's just the basics. Stuff you would find in any shooter. Assault rifles, shotguns, and even an RPG. But this is only the beginning. Every new pack will push my creativity and design skills even further, making this game's arsenal truly unique. And of course, because of the Himores, guns can be mismatched and combined, creating the opportunities for some wild loadouts. Any part can attach to another part with some limitations. Each part is in a category. There's the barrel, the body, the stock, and the magazine. So you can't have more than one magazine or more than one barrel. But what I really mean by mismatch and combine is you could have a shotgun stock and a sniper barrel and just an LMG magazine and just create some wild combinations. And players will also be able to carry 2 guns. So you can have 2 crazy combinations that create a synergy that no other game can allow you to do. And that's all because of the Himores. But really, this is just the beginning. And now I want to make game systems that go hand in hand with the Himores.
A few moments later.
With the Himores in place, I need a way for the players to actually get guns. My solution? A station that spits out a random gun when a certain price is paid. But to make the early rounds manageable, but later rounds more challenging, the Infernal Reliquary, which is what this station will be called, has 2 phases. The first one being early rounds. It gives out fully built guns like a pump shotgun or an SMG. And then later rounds, it starts spitting out randomly generated weapons, built from a mix of different parts. And since the player can only hold 2 weapons, and if both slots are full, it will straight up steal the weapon the player is holding out and replace it with a new one.
Yo, will this Infernal Reliquary of yours have a chance to give me some food? Because I forgot to pack my lunch, and I'm starving, bro.
Ron, if there's ever a weapon made out of food, you can have it. But for now, no food guns. Next, I added a station called the Hellforge. Every time you play, the Hellforge starts dormant, and to activate it, you must complete a trial. 3 orbs will spawn, and you must scour the map and find them. Once that's done, the forge is yours, if you have the money for it. Using the Hellforge, you can insert a weapon, wait a few seconds, and then it'll spit the weapon back out. But now the weapon is stronger, faster, and will have a higher pitched firing sound to make the upgrade really feel tangible. Here's a station that really shows that this is my most ambitious game yet. The Harvester's Altar. This is a high-risk, high-reward system that allows you to take a gun that has parts that you like and break it down into each individual part. You insert the weapon of your choice and a protection sequence begins. Enemies will aggressively target the altar, trying to destroy it. While this is happening, the altar is slowly dismantling your gun part by part and saving each part as they finish. If the altar is destroyed before it's fully complete, any uncollected parts are lost forever. But the ones that were saved in time, those are permanently yours.
Boy, mate, this is a very gruesome end to these weapons. To think what they could have achieved, but I suppose we'll never know.
Okay, Moving on. With weapons separated into individual parts, the only logical thing I could do next is add a loadout builder. This functions like a common loadout builder in other games, but with one major difference. You are not constrained by weapon archetypes. Want to slap a sniper stock on a pistol? Go for it. Need a shotgun barrel on an AR? Why not? And even with only 10 guns in the game so far, the number of combinations, 10,000. And now that players can build weapons in the menus with this loadout builder, I need a way for the player to buy these loadouts in game. That's where the Hive Crucible comes in. This station offers 3 randomly generated weapons similarly to the Infernal Reliquary, but it will also offer 2 of the 5 loadout weapons you have currently built. To keep things balanced, I designed a pricing system that calculates a weapon's price based off each part's stats and then adds it all together. But loadout weapons are 3 times the price of the randomly generated weapons just to keep things fair. The core gameplay loop is complete. Now it's time to bring the game to life with visuals, sound effects, and polish.
A few moments later.
I held off on adding visuals to make sure the core mechanics were solid. Making sure the game was actually fun came first. But now that these main systems are complete, it's time to bring the game to life. I started off by making the sprites for the main enemies, which of course is zombies. The style for these sprites is heavily inspired by the Enter the Gungeon protagonists. To avoid repetitive visuals, because there are going to be loads of zombies on the screen at later rounds, I decided to create the first batch of hair and outfits for these enemies. The outfits range from a bright orange prison jumpsuit to a grimy biker outfit. For hair, there's long, short, balding, and completely bald. More variants of outfits and hair will be coming at a later date just to add some more visual variety. Before we dive deeper into the visuals, I added some quality of life changes. The player now heals after a short delay, and enemies can now drop ammo, health, and extra money. All of this is meant to give the player a fighting chance at later rounds while keeping action smooth and satisfying. With those quick quality of life changes out of the way, next up for the visuals was the player sprites. Like I said earlier, the main character is a deer, but not just any deer. A deer that made a deal with the devil. And because of this deer has red fur and has antlers on fire. And of course, like all my other sprites, I made it in A sprite, which it looked pretty good in there, but it looked even better in Godot. Thanks to the glowing antlers, which give the impression that the antlers are actually on fire.
Scientifically speaking, this is exactly what happens when a deer eats too many flaming hot Cheetos.
Yes, Jerry. Nailed it. After having both the zombie sprite and the player sprite in game, I noticed that the player sprite does have a slightly different style from the zombies. I'll more than likely go back and tweak both of them for visual consistency, but for now, feel free to leave a comment down below on what you think about the sprite designs. And thankfully, the UI got a makeover too. It's no longer just floating numbers around the player. It's now cleaner, easier to read, and less distracting, keeping the focus on the gameplay while being informative. I also did the visuals for the stations, so let's break each of them down on their looks and lore. I did 3 out of the 4 stations, and the station I left out is the Harvester Altar, which I'm holding off on so I can focus more on my school's Spring Game Expo. That system won't be in the Expo build anyways. Firstly, the Infernal Reliquary, a stone box forged deep in hell, filled with the essence of fallen warriors from Tartarus, which is where the gun parts come from. Every full weapon blueprint from weapon packs, it belonged to someone, it has its own story, and it's up to you to figure out what that story is. And now to show what Hellforged tier your weapon has, I created 3 custom shaders. Each one adds a new texture and a subtle glow, giving each upgraded weapon its own demonic flair. With the Hellforged weapon shaders out of the way, now it's time to get into the actual Hellforge. Visually, it's a massive stone tablet with a dormant portal in its center. Once the 3 orbs are destroyed, it wakes up. Interact with it and the forge sucks your weapon in, enhancing it with raw demonic power before spitting it back out stronger than ever. And finally, the Hive Crucible, a decaying stone table covered in melted wax, honeycomb, and a pool of flowing honey and lava in its center. This ancient ritual site, once used by demons, was lost to time when it was buried in the Bee world and mutated by Hive biotechnology. Now, it's alive. It breathes, it remembers, and from its molten core, it produces blueprints, weapons of legend, long forgotten, and some whose stories are just beginning.
A few moments later.
That's everything I have to show for now, but this is only the beginning. I don't know where this road leads, but I know one thing. I'm giving this game everything I've got. The road to greatness starts now. If you want to come along for the ride, make sure you stick around because the next episodes will be packed with more updates, features, and reveals. If you enjoyed this video and want to see how this game evolves, make sure you go down and subscribe and maybe hit the like button while you're down there as well. You can even tell me in the comments what's the craziest gun idea you think I should add into the game. Your feedback means the world to me. And if you want to see what I learned making my last game, lessons that are definitely shaping this one, then go check out the video right here. Thank you for watching. This is RBC Mr. Rhodes signing off for now.